always this mutual misunderstanding that the child-free person is immature and they haven't grown up yet because they don't have kids. And that's one reason I definitely keep people with kids at an arm's length, because I know that at some point that assumption's gonna pop up. Welcome back or to another video. I wanted to show off my t-shirt first because I think it's just so jade coded. Like a little kitten with rage consumes me. It's just the perfect oxymoron to describe me. Just the other day, I was scrolling and I found this really interesting article. I have never felt so fucking seen in my entire life. There is always more to the story than simply I have no friends or I feel like I have no meaningful relationships. The people who reach midlife with no close friends may not be unlikable. They are often the ones who gave too much for too long to people who did not give back. There's a lot of myths about us child-free women, child-free people, how we're miserable, how we're lonely, especially if you're a child-free woman, that we're bitter, we're cat ladies, we're angry. I mean, the angry cat lady resonates so deeply with me. I've lent fully into that. The myth of the unlikable middle-aged person. There's a story we tell about the person who arrives at 40-something with a quiet phone. We assume something must be wrong with them. Bad personality, difficult, probably picked fights, probably hard to love, probably did this to themselves. These are the assumptions that we usually make when someone gets to like late 30s, early 40s, and they have a quiet phone. People are like, oh, this person did it to themselves. They are incredibly difficult. They're hard to love. They find problems with everybody. And I've certainly heard all of these. And for so many years, probably too many, I actually believed this. I believed all of this about me. I believed I was the problem. I believed I was a difficult person. I believed I was hard to love. I grew up in a very misogynistic household. And I grew up certainly believing that I had a huge character flaw because I wasn't this yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir type of person. And it was very obvious I was becoming very highly independent. That then led to a lot of criticism growing up. That takes a huge knock-on effect on your self-esteem. And actually, I believe that's what led me to being a really big people pleaser for so many years, because it was made very obvious to me when I was younger that, you know what, you're a fucking problem. We got to nip that in the bud. Whereas actually, I wasn't a fucking problem. If this is you or anybody you know, let's go into the real reason why this could be happening. I want to be precise about what is actually happening to people who arrive in midlife with a small circle. It's not bitterness, it's not avoidance, it's not trust issues in the cheap therapy Instagram sense. It's depletion plus learning. After years of investing in relationships that didn't return the investment, the nervous system updates its model. It stops generating the impulse to reach out, not because it's broken, but because it's accurate. The energy required to maintain a friendship with someone who only shows up when you summon them, that's real energy taken from a real finite supply, and the body keeps a tab. What this person said in the article about the nervous system updating itself to a new model. So it's not about you simply shutting off or needing therapy or needing more self-help books. It is literally your nervous system trying to regulate itself from years upon years upon years of being there for other people. And the return on investment was just never there. It is no different to a business. If you're investing into your business, you're investing into marketing, inventory, or services, or whatever it is, and you're not getting that return, something's got to give. I do feel like now I'm kind of like at a point in my life where when I do find that I'm getting really close to someone in terms of a friendship and we're vibing, I hate it really because I feel like I still have to put those little boundaries down, which is fair enough because we should all have them. But I feel like I still need to have a little bit of a guard there and hold the person a little bit at arm's length. But I also don't want to do that because I'm a highly sociable person. I'm a big extrovert. I have so much love to give people. But also I need to remember that's kind of how I ended up in this predicament, is because I gave too much too soon, probably to the wrong people. The people I know who got to midlife with thin social circles are not on average less likable than the people with thick ones. They are often more generous, more attuned, better friends hour for hour than people who somehow always have a packed calendar. What they share isn't a defect, it's history. They were, for a long time, the one who texted first, the one who organized the dinner, the one who flew in for the wedding when the favor was statistically never going to be returned. They held a lot of the relationship up by themselves for years until one day their arms got tired. Listen to what is said next, and this is where I felt finally 150% seen and actually understood. If you're reading this and panicking about your own thinning circle, here's the thing nobody tells you. A small number of real friendships beats a large number of decorative ones. And the research has been clear about this for a long time. The Harvard study of adult development, which has been tracking people for over 80 years now, keeps coming back to the same finding. It's not the size of the network that predicts long-term well-being and longevity. It's the warmth of the closest few. 2 or 3 real ones, where the effort flows in both directions, will do more for you than 20 acquaintances who like your posts. This really made me think of life through the decades, because understandably, when you're just coming out of adolescence and you're going into your early to mid-20s, you seem to have the biggest social circle ever. You're still in contact with a lot of your school friends. If you went to university, you made probably some of the bestest friends ever. I know that my husband made the bestest friends from university and he's still friends with them now to this day. You have a very packed calendar naturally. You want to go out more, you have more energy to go out, you want to socialize more. So you might get people that you lose when you move out of your hometown, for example, but then you might start a new job where you make new friends. You have people there all the time. When you get into your late 20s, maybe your early 30s, for a lot of people, or some people, should we say, you start settling down. You start looking at long-term romantic relationships. Some people start thinking about marriage, about children, etc. So this again changes the dynamics massively to your friend group, especially marriage and children. Ask anyone who's married with or without kids. They will tell you that marriage will show you exactly who your friends are. When you get into your early 30s, your mid 30s, a lot of people are starting to settle down and have families. This is definitely going to change the dynamic. Unless your friends are doing the exact same and you have that common ground of having kids, then that is going to be really hard to maintain a relationship. And I've certainly heard a lot of the child-free community have friends who have kids, but they still want to maintain their relationship with them. However, it doesn't always work the same way. So they would always be there for their friend and their kids, yet that wasn't always reciprocated the same way. And this is one reason why I won't really be friends with people who have kids. Their priorities are completely different to my priorities. And there's always this general misunderstanding between the two parties that always pisses me off. I find that a lot of people with kids always misunderstand the person without kids. There's always this mutual misunderstanding that the child-free person is immature and they haven't grown up yet because they don't have kids. And that's one reason I definitely keep people with kids at an arm's length, a massive arm's length, because I know that at some point that assumption's going to pop up and it's going to piss me off, especially if I'm going on holiday a lot. And it's going to be that must be nice. I know it's coming. I've just heard it too many times for it to not happen. I do have responsibilities, and child-free people do understand responsibilities. We do still have shit days. We do still get tired. I have a very physically demanding job. Of course I fucking get tired. But I can't sit with somebody with kids and have this conversation. They'd just be like, oh, you don't know what tired is. And don't even get me started on that conversation. When you hit your late 30s, your early 40s and beyond, most people who hit this age usually have this moment of I can't do this anymore. I'm fucking tired. I'm mentally and physically exhausted from constantly holding up a relationship and being the only person holding it up. That's why, as perfectly articulated in this article, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you if you feel like this. If you feel like you're that person who, my arms got tired because I'm constantly carrying this person everywhere. I'm not supporting people who are not going to support themselves, who constantly self-sabotage, and then who constantly ask for solutions. And then when you offer them, it's like, oh no, I can't do that. And then another problem arises. I literally have no time for these types of people. I have no fucking time for people who find problems to every single solution. when they're constantly asking for help, advice, and whatnot. I'm not saving anyone. I think another reason people get to this age is probably because they've spent a long time being someone's safety net. When you get into your late 30s or your early 40s, is understanding that we're not here for big friendships because we want to look popular. A lot of the time when you're much younger, when you're in your late teens, your early 20s, your mid 20s, everybody wants to feel wanted and liked. You want to be popular. You want to be with the in gang. You go out with all these big friendship groups that you naturally have at that age. And of course, you feel more popular. You feel liked by more people. But then the older you get, the more you realize that you don't have time and energy for meaningless relationships. You'd rather have one or two really amazing, deep, meaningful connections than 10 pointless ones. We now look at quality over quantity. What I would add is that I do think it's becoming slightly more difficult these days to make friends. And I don't just think that's because of the conversations that were brought up in the article. I think it's more a case of this, we just live in a digital world and everything is through a screen now. It's so annoying because it kind of takes that humanness out of it. And if you're a millennial, you will 100% understand this, but I am so glad I grew up in a time where I didn't have a phone. I didn't have a camera in my face 24/7. I actually played in school. Like, we went into the playground and we used our imaginations. I'm just so glad that I experienced that, because I think we're the last generation who can actually have proper conversations, if I'm perfectly honest. And I think that's where the problem lies these days with making new friendships and building new connections, is that people just don't want to fucking talk anymore. If you've joined this far, thank you so, so much for joining. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a massive thumbs up. I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Peace out.